All right, guys, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends video. I've been getting a lot of feedback and people saying they really enjoy the discussion videos. And if you want to see more, post down below some topics that you want to hear me discuss and things like that. And how do you feel about the discussion videos? So, that being said, I try to find a nice blend between that and PvP. Anyway. So for today's video, we're gonna do a video talking about the best Zenkais, and it's not really like a 1, 2, 3, 4 list type of thing, because there's just so many. And you know, I've always thought when you say this is the best character and this and that, it's subjective. Like right now, I think Vegito Blue is the best character in the game. I think there are situations, for example, where another 1 or 2 characters can be the best character in the game. Like later in the game when Vegito loses some stuff, blah blah blah. There are people that will like argue to the ends of the earth that Goku and Frieza are number 1, and that's fine, right? So I think that when you say something is the best, that's subjective, so I'm not going to do that for today's video. That being said, what I will do is we're going to go over a lot of the characters. There's like, is this like 100 Zenkais? Somebody please multiply for me again. The columns versus rows. Like there is like, it's at least like 75. There's a lot of Zenkais. We are going to go over the most valuable, some honorable mentions, ones you should prioritize, best characters here. So you're going to want to make sure you listen through this video as much as you can to take away as much as you can from this video. So I hope that you guys enjoy it. If this is helpful, be sure to subscribe, hit that thumbs up as well. The like goal for today's video to show encouragement, to let me know you guys want to see more of these, is going to be 800. So please be sure to hit that thumbs up. It takes just a couple seconds to do, and scan that QR code when you get the chance. All right, so I'm going to start off with a few honorable mentions here. First one is this Blue Pan. She's a really solid support character, and that's all you really need to know. But yeah, she's pretty solid in terms of what she can provide for your team. And you know what's going to kind of wind up inevitably happening in this video is I can't cover every single situation that you would use a character in because there's just so many characters in the game overall. You know, for example, Pan was really, really good before Beast Gohan came out. Now she probably, I think, just is with a Zenkai buffer for him, things like that. If you have Beast Gohan, you don't want to use Pan as a battle member. Just a lot of different things or stipulations that you can really apply to a lot of these characters. Inevitably, that is something I can't completely ignore, but I'm gonna have to leave that up to you guys because otherwise this video would be an hour-long video, seriously. So Pan, good support character and has some awesome stuff in her kit. This guy is one of my favorite Zenkais in the entire game. I really love what they did for him. They allowed for him to become a nice offensive powerhouse while also being a solid wall and offering some utility stuff like healing. So I really do appreciate this guy. So Yellow Super Saiyan 2, also a fairly recent one, came out a few months ago. So let's move on to the next one. Brand new latest Zenkai at the time of the recording. I haven't finished his Zenkai Awakening, but Cell is a phenomenal character. You're going to want to Zenkai Awaken. And again, I can't really cover every single situation, but right now, yellow is a sketchy color to use because of a character like Vegito Blue. But, you know, taking it outside of the meta in terms of his kit and teams and stuff like that, I think Cell is pretty solid. Speaking of yellow, I just realized we're going to have like 4 yellows in a row. Gotenks here actually should probably be one of the more valuable ones. Solid character, first and foremost. Very, very top-end Z ability. Health for Fusion Warriors and Hybrids, amazing. You definitely want that on your team. And he also offers a Zenkai ability for Yellow Fusion Warriors. There's a very strong Yellow Fusion Warrior in the game currently, so among one of the most valuable ones probably. So he should probably be higher on this list. But nonetheless, a honorable mention. I think there's one Zenkai in the entire game that I don't actually have, and it's because I didn't see it when it came out, and they refused to rerun the event, but he's the next one on my list. This guy, with his Zenkai Awakening, similar to, the Gotenks, he's very valuable for some of the things he provides. Also, you may have thought, because once upon a time this was true, that EXs only offered a color. They don't. He offers to Android. So if you didn't know that, now you know. Very good for the same things as Gotenks, and also very good for a Zenkai buffer for the tag droids, or Gammas. I think you could still use this guy reliably. He has some awesome stuff in his kit. He is really, really cool and good and well-designed. Support, sub-count down stuff. This guy is awesome, man. Defeated buffs. Awesome character. So again, very valuable in my opinion. Didn't think that he got the credit he deserved when he released. I think, like I said, for some of the stuff in his kit, you could still use him successfully today. But nonetheless, here is the Broly movie Goku. And last but not least, I'm not even going to do a cut for this one. It's going to be Red Vegito, the free-to-play one. He's got some of the same things we've already talked about with the powerful Z ability and also having that Zenkai ability that's okay too. But He's also a solid red fighter if you wanted to use him. He was, again, a little bit higher on the list before Vegito Blue came out, but if you don't have VB, then that works as well. Also, another thing that's very valuable with him is this lock-in. This lock-in is never going to age out of the game. It's just an insanely strong effect. So on that merit, he makes the list. Next up, while I don't love these equips that much, as you can tell, I haven't done many of them, these equips do make these Zenkai characters a lot better. For example, Goku Black was, like, always one of the worst Zenkais in the game. Always. And even on release when he was new. Always. So that being said, this equip actually made him not bad. These equips are a nightmare, though, to get good rolls and all that stuff on. But that made him not bad, man. So any of these characters, they're innately going to be better, and they're going to add, I think, Android 16 to this list as well tomorrow, so he's going to get a lot better and more usable too. So these characters are kind of honorable mentions, but if they're a character that has one of these equips, they are a lot better than a lot of the Zenkais in the field that are not LF characters. Speaking of LF Zenkais, they are also an honorable mention type of thing, but these are the characters that are always going to be high value, or excuse me, are high value. I don't want to say always, because several of these characters have aged out of what they were doing. For example, Beerus was one of the original 3 Zenkais and was the best character in the game. He's terrible today, but once upon a time, he was really good. That's just a product of power creep and getting again, one of the original 3 Zenkais. So yeah, you could tell how old he is. And some of these other characters have already had their time in the sun, but some of these characters, while they've been out for a while, are still really solid and good. Like this guy can still beat your face in if you run into him on the proper setup and stuff like that. Super Vegito is still a nightmare sometimes. We can go back to this guy. He's pretty solid. And this Frieza came out a while ago and is getting a decent resurgence with the team alongside Goku and Frieza. People are using this character for the Zenkai buff and for the support. This character is really good. And last but not least, I want to kind of throw some shout outs to the more recent Zenkais. This dude is phenomenal. He is literally one of the best characters. He may be the single best Zenkai in the game right now. It's either him or Sword of Hope Trunks. I'm not sure which one is the best one to use currently and best, most designed. Like, so this guy, the utility on this character is insane. Like, he is the only character in the game that doesn't care about one of the only characters. There's a few other characters, but he's a UI Goku, so he's the only one that's also really usable. Anyway, that doesn't care about things like Vegito Blue taking off that instant gauge at the start of the match if he leaves with Vegito Blue, things like that. The dodge in this guy is pretty powerful. He got so much better. He does a lot of damage. They fixed a lot of holes in his kit. He is also able to get basically all the problems this character had pre-Zenkai, they fixed. Easily one of the most best designed or best balanced characters. And same applies to Trunks. That's why I said I'm not sure if it's him or Trunks. The Trunks here too, these are like the 2 best Zenkais in the game, best designed Zenkais as well. These guys are phenomenal. Basically all of the issues that they had, they did fix. Now, Trunks I think still has a minor issue, but it's minor, and that he does need to kind of be, last man to pick up his nullify cover change, right? And I don't really love that. It's just, it's not great, but it's still great that he has it nonetheless. And Trunks pops off. He does insane damage. Great character. They did a good job with this Trunks Zenkai and things like that. So you can still use some of the more recent ones like Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta. And again, some of these characters like Super Saiyan 3 Goku or Goten and Gohan nowadays, who was once for a long time one of the best characters in the game, was one of the characters that's directly responsible for power creep today. Anyway, they're characters you may sometimes be able to use, but they're heavily outdated, just missing a ton of things, and they don't have a lot of the stuff now modern characters have. But nonetheless, since these characters are Legends Limited, they do have that Legends Limited pull rate. You do have to get the character to 7-star minimum. If you get the opportunity to Zenkai Awaken any of these characters, I think you should do it without hesitation. At least for the nice box trophy and to say you did it. All right, so let's move on to my actual literal list outside of the characters I mentioned, because again, equipped characters, the LF characters, those are the ones that you want to prioritize with the heavy emphasis on Trunks and on Goku as being the best ones in my opinion. Again, there are things some of the other ones do, like I really like the Super Saiyan Blue Green Vegeta. The way he plays is awesome. I love his lock-in on the ultimate, things like that. I could throw things for all of them, like Super Vegito I could throw things for, but nonetheless, let's move on. So I'm going to start the actual video with probably the single most valuable Zenkai in the entire game. That doesn't mean best. Those are 2 different things. But the reason why this guy, I gotta say outside of, because it's valuable to get the LF characters to 7 stars anyway, right? But okay, outside of LF characters, because of how hard it is to pull them, this guy is the only thing that makes his type of teams go. He has some stuff in his kit that is never going to be bad. For example, the ability to get that vanish on the ultimate, not on hit, but on activation, is insane. I can't tell you how many times I threw that ultimate knowing it would miss just to get that vanish back, and then quickly vanished again, and then threw a rush. Total cheese ability. A lot of the rest of his stuff in his kit doesn't really age well. It's not like great stuff, anything like that. And he's also a really old one. Like, they didn't give him, I don't think, blast armor on the ultimate. Like, things like that. Okay, well, I understand why, because this is actually pretty broken, getting the vanish back, like I said. But, like, older characters like him, look at his green card. He's not doing anything. Older characters that are Zenkais like this, they don't do a ton. But where Bardock's bread is buttered is the buffs he is providing. He makes Super Saiyan teams insane. He is the only character in the game that has a direct call out to another character that should have been an honorable mention, actually. They got so tired of that guy. This is a honorable mention, that they produced Chilled. Chilled's actually kind of cool. I like his design too, support stuff he provides, etc. But they literally made Chilled a anti-Bardock character. I don't believe there's a single other character in the entire game that gets their literal character ID called out in the way that they do here. It's in here somewhere, dude. He literally calls out the Bardock effect. God dang it, where is it? I gotta find it. So people don't think I'm crazy. Oh, right here. Look. Plus 70% damage inflicted by allies when Bardock is an enemy character. They call out bro's ID number. You see the bottom corner, Chilled's ID number, DBL07, OS05S, blah, blah, blah. They literally call out bro's ID number. They always try, when they try to, like, make a counter to a character, they don't call out their ID, they just make them do stuff, right? But this is such an insane ability because it targets him specifically, and his team does 70% more damage if he's versus a Bardock team. If you've ever seen this matchup, it's hilarious. The whole team melts. The whole opponent's team just dies to like 2 cards. It's so funny. So, honorable mention, but that just shows you how valuable Bardock is. Let's get back to the next one on the list. So the next one on the list, he's actually on this page currently, is one of the more recent Zenkais. In fact, the second to last Zenkai, and that's going to be Purple 17. I really like the support stuff in his kit. I really do like, obviously, he's a wall. He had that barrier. They just made him a lot better. And his issues are that he, has direct competition on his teams, but nonetheless, pretty solid character. Let's move on to one of my favorite Zenkais that actually got a slight little run. One thing, if you've been playing for a while, one thing you know is, since the fall of Zenkai supremacy, when they stopped being the best characters in the game, that's why a character like Yellow 18 isn't on my list, or things like that. Gohan wouldn't even have been on my list either, Super Saiyan 2, if he wasn't an LF. Anyway, one thing that you know is that the Zenkai's pre-Great Fall and post-Great Fall, it's pretty crazy, the difference. And so a lot of Zenkai characters are just really, really, like, not even mid. They're just bad. Some of them literally come out and they're just bad. But, and what that means is that these characters are coming out and they don't get a chance to be used. People aren't using these characters. But one of them that actually got some run was this guy. And the reason why a lot of characters that come out with Zenkais are not good is because they don't do a lot to their kits. They very rarely do anything. They like basically pick and choose the Zenkais that they have to do the least amount of work to, and they basically do nothing. So that's kind of what's kind of happened to a lot of these characters, like at least half of the list. But with this guy, while he has no traits, giving him endurance was an insane effect to add to his kit. Like he's the only Zenkai in the game that got it added on his kit. Every other character here had endurance by default. It's never happened before. So this was definitely a passion project character. Somebody in the dev team enjoyed this character a lot. So that really was awesome. And then also the way he's designed with the greens and blues, pretty awesome character, the way that they fixed him up. So definitely want to give him a shout out because he I think he fell off when Beast came out and again got replaced, but nonetheless, he's a really solid Zenkai. And I want to also from here highlight Super Baby 2. Definitely was not as scary as we thought he would be. If he came out pre-Great Fall of Zenkais where they stopped being the best, he would have been a titan, but he's not now. But I do think you could use him with his support and the healing and health restoration, sub count, blah, 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 stuff that he does pretty well. His problem is that GT just sucks. Like, GT has a couple good characters, but like the rest of GT just kind of sucks, or is like super duper mid, right? And that's because GT hasn't had anything in like 6 months. 7 months? It's been a while. So anyway, let's move on from here. But Super Baby 2 still has some awesome stuff in his kit. And seeing what they've done to characters like him that we used to be scared of, because this guy completely ruined the meta when he released, it makes me not scared of a character like Instant Transmission Goku getting a Zenkai, because I know they'll just kind of find a way to gimp him. So I want to move from here and move on to another very valuable, very strong Zenkai, and that's going to be one that came out during the Majin Buu Saga campaign, and that is this guy. I really like what they did for this guy. They went above and beyond for him again, or above and beyond for him, but again, he's another character that kind of has fallen off because the shelf life for these characters to actually be a battle member isn't very high, and the shelf life for them to be a Zenkai buffer is not great, especially like this one. Like Vegeta Clan's not like, I can't think of a single red, I may be forgetting one, but I can't think of a red Vegeta Clan character you'd use over this guy. He may be the best one. So that makes that innately low value. So anyway, his Z ability is also terrible. He comes out from the era where they were trying to nerf characters by giving strike characters a blast Z ability for no damn reason. Anyway, they used to do that. They used to also give strike characters double blast cards so you would never draw strikes. It's so funny the way that the game has freaking changed. But nonetheless, his stats were high. They really fixed up his kit. His ult was doing a ton of damage. I really liked him. He also had a huge negative in his kit that made him one of the worst characters in the game. He is the only character in the game that probably anyway, the only character in the game that debuffed your team. He put a debuff for damage. He literally made your team take more damage. So they took that off his kit with the quickness on the Zenkai. And next up on my list is again, another one. Another very valuable Zenkai that didn't get the respect they deserved, were really good, could probably still be used today for some of the things in their kit, but inevitably won't be because of the competition that they face, and that's just kind of a general game thing. But this character, I really enjoyed what they did. I got a lot of good run out of this character. The support is awesome. They also offered defeated buffs. This character was legit, man. Look at this. When defeated, draws a full hand, or when this character, draws a full hand, gets damage and key recovery up there. Also has some more stuff in here like cut and things like that. I really enjoyed this character. Got a lot of good use out of them. They're nothing groundbreaking or crazy, but they are a character you can get some good use out of, as I did. I want to from here move to another, easy to get one, and this is a free character, 21 here. I've seen a lot of people rank her very highly on like overall list, and not just Zenkai's, but just overall. So she has the Revive Disruption effect here, where I believe she chops off Dragon Balls, right? It's down here somewhere, when she forces them to revive. That has a little more value because we finally got another freaking one in Piccolo, I guess, a little bit more value. Anyway, it's card destroy and key reduction and some damage. But she also chops off Dragon Balls and does all this fun stuff with the strike, seal, and stuff. She is a really strong character, has a lot of things in her kit, and I think is a character you could use successfully for a while. And right here, 5-second seal, things like that. I could swear that she had... Where is it at? I could swear that she chopped Dragon Balls. I'm not seeing it, but oh, there it is. Oh, she increases Dragon Balls on blue. I feel like she still removes Dragon Balls. Maybe I'm thinking of the blue one. Anywho, shout out to Blue 21. She should also kind of be an honorable mention for what she does. All right, anyway, so solid character to use. And I think that we've basically gone through my entire list. Yeah, we have. I said... For this, I said the LF Zenkais, the equipped characters. I listed the honorable mentions. I actually amended that list and added Chilled because he was on my list. I have a list literally in Notepad, and he was on it. I just didn't do it. Anyway, we mentioned Super Saiyan Bardock. We mentioned Purple 17. We mentioned Blue Super Saiyan 1 Goku. We mentioned Majin Vegeta, Super Baby 2, Great Saiyaman 1 and 2, and Android 21. So the last thing I'll say, because we mentioned everybody on my list, the last thing I'll say is these Zenkais, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, have different things that will be useful. Some of these characters are going to offer defeated buffs to your allies, and that's going to be their main shtick, that you could plug them into a team and they can make another character better. They're going to have utility effects like sealing or card destroys or key reduction or things like that. Or they're going to be a mega tank or things like that. They're going to have cover null on a few of them. Not very common for that to happen on Zenkais either. There are just different ways to use some of these characters that is going to make some of these characters really good. One that I was going to have on my list, for example, because I see him, was this guy. I really like, he's like one of the best Zenkais they've ever made in terms of the way they designed him. They did an awesome job. And I really like his lock-in blue card, things like that. But again, GT's just kind of in the mud. So I'm not really going to promote much GT stuff because it just kind of is what it is. Kefla, another one that's really solid. And other ones are going to have more value based on their Z ability or the characters they can Zenkai buff as well. Like 21 here has another health-based Z ability. I put those very highly in the totem pole while offering a purple Android Zenkai buff. This could actually be really good if the new LF Cell comes out and is pretty good and he's purple, right? So like things like that, it just kind of comes down to what you're really looking for. And also some of these characters are really solid secondary options if you don't have the main fighter for their team. A character like Green Jiren I think is really, really strong. They didn't change much in his kit, but nearly 300,000 strike attack. You can't really go wrong with that. Now there is another character that would be on Universe Reps ahead of him, and I think there was already one or two. But nonetheless, he's an awesome character too. So definitely the characters that I didn't put on my list, it's not that they're bad. Some of them are. But it's because I value different things differently. So I want to know, for today's video, the end of it, what are the characters you value very, very highly as the best or most valuable? Again, different things, Zenkais in the game. Also, since I see him, I want to throw a shout out to this guy. His debuffs on on enemies, excuse me, is very nice. He doesn't really do much else great, but yeah, a lot of these characters just kind of do one or two things that are really good, and then not really much else, to the point where it's like the power creep is so expansive now with character kits like Vegito Blue, where it's like, okay, I can't use these garbage characters anymore. They may do one or two things right, but I need a character that does 5, 6, 7, 8 things right. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, guys. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one.